All right, welcome everyone to another episode of, I don't know what is this called, Snow Frog live coding, making a fool of himself daily. How's that? Okay, so today I'm doing a code kata called Minefield. It's basically the classic Minesweeper, I think it's called, computer game where you have a grid, a square grid, and every grid is either empty or has a mine in it, and you need to uncover tiles and make sure you're not, uncovering a tile that has a mine. Let's just get this here. It'll be easier. All right, so a field of n by m squares is represented by n lines of exactly m characters each. The character star or asterisk represents a mine. The character period dot represents no mine. Here's an input example. First we get a line with basically our n is the amount of lines, so our columns and the opposite of the rows, and then columns size. Your task is to write a program to accept this input and produce as output a hint field of identical dimensions, where each square is a asterisk for a mine, or the number of adjacent mine squares if the square does not contain a mine. All right, pretty straightforward, I would think. Let's put that to the side. Let's get coding. So first thing we'll do is we'll make a file called minefield.ts. Well, actually, yeah, let's just call it that for now. And we'll also add one for tests. We're going to do this TDD style. We're going to try to anyways. field.test.ts. There we go. Describe. We're going to call this simply minefield kata. This will just be like a wrapper around our tests, allowing me to, because I've got all of these, all of my katas, which I only have 2 so far, but I'm planning to add some, in the same repo. And, I don't want to run the tests on each kata every time, so I want some sort of way to be able to skip the tests for the katas I'm not working on right now. So this will allow me to do that with jest, which is what I'm using for testing. You just go like this, X, and it skips it, or you can actually do, I think, F, and it'll only run the one with the F. Okay. And now our actual test. So test, what are we testing? Well, we're testing, what do we need? Okay. We're going to need first we're going to need to convert our input into a 2D array. Right? That's probably the smart thing to do here. Although I might not need to. Well, let me just get back here. Since they're just strings, I could just have a one-dimensional array for each line, and then just use the character at for the index. It's a bit less work, although I need to figure out how do I deal with, no, it might be easier to have a 2D array. Yeah, I think I'll just use a 2D array. So let's call this convert input to 2D array. So we might just make a method just for that on our class, which is non-existent at the moment. Should I just make it a static and not bother with instantiation? Could probably do that, right? Since this is just for a little code kata. So we're going to call this class minefield. What do they call this in the instructions? Your task is to write a program to accept this input and produce a hint field. Okay. So how about minefield hinter? Dot, and we're going to call this method convert input to 2D array. How's that? How's that for descriptive? Boom. No, it's rightfully telling us that it won't compile because there is no such class. So export class what did we call it? Minefield hinter. Minefield hinter. Okay, so that's taken care of. We need to import it. Now it's going to tell us that it doesn't have a method called that. So let's do that. Oh, and it should take an input. So input type string, and we know that we want an output of yep, that's a 2D array, an array of strings. Yep. Okay. Property does not exist on type. Yep, sorry. Gotta make this static. We said that's what we would do. So why not? It's not like we're gonna reuse the minefield hinter class anywhere. Although, what if I wanted to make a minesweeper game clone? Still, I could still use a static. Okay. So let's see. We're going to call this, let's see, const input equals, let's make our, oh no, what am I doing? This is what I'm gonna do. That, and let's just copy this from here. Like that. Is that gonna be? I'll just check that I'm doing this properly. I think like it would look much better if we had the template here, but it would count these as spaces. So I think they need to be like that. Gets confusing, but still saves a lot of time, and it's easier to look at. You know exactly what it's supposed to look at and look like, I mean, in terms of strings. Okay. I'm just going to do a quick console log. See what we get. And then run this. What did we get? Is that right? I think so. I don't think there's any spaces here. Oh, maybe. Or it's just indentation from... No, I think we're good. I think we're good. Although maybe I should do this. Just to be on the safe side. Now, are they going to count this as... See if that changes anything. They look identical. I think we're good. So maybe I'll just bring that back here. And that too, it'll just make it easier to link this variable to what's going on between those two. Okay. Now we're calling this, and we are shoving that in there. And we're saying, this is actual results. And we expect actual to equal, used when you want to check that two objects have the same values. Match or recursively checks, yeah, that's what we want. To equal. And now we're gonna do const. Wait, how does it work? Arrange, act. Arrange, act, and assert. So that would be part of a expect. We're expecting a to the array. That is going to be, oops, this should be on the second line here. And it should have this in there. And each of those should be a string. This might seem like a lot of work, but it really isn't that bad. And once you're done, your test cases are like really easy to, it's really easy to see what you're testing. You kind of have like a graphical representation of what's going on, really, and I find it useful oftentimes in puzzles with 2D arrays like that, because it's basically a map, right? So what do we get here? This should be a dot, and this one should be a star, which that's why I was wondering why they weren't lining up. Okay. And the last one is all dots. Here we go. There. This will be expected. Expect actual to equal expected. Let's run that. And we have our failing test, but it's also, it's not failing because it's not compiling. A function whose declared type is neither void or any must return a value. Yeah, okay. It must, so let's get it to return a value. How's that? Eh? Boom. Let's return that. Let's see if we pass our test now. Bet we will. And we do. What do you mean 2 passed? Test suites, 1 failed, 1 passed. Tests 43. Oh, right. So I'm running all my other kata's tests. So that's why I need to go. And I'm pretty sure it's F. And then it'll only run the one with the F. Nope, I guess not. Time to look at the docs. The documentation. Shopping for a laptop, as you can see. Just. And we're looking for globals. Describe only, that's what we want. Also under the alias f describe. Oh, that's what I did, isn't it? It is, so why did it run the other ones? Interesting. What if I do describe dot only? Dot only, oh, maybe it's a per file thing. Must be just per file. Oh, that's a bummer. What if describe only, describe.skip, that's just the X. So were I to do that, it would skip this test, I'm pretty sure. This test suite, yeah, it does. Okay, so I'm gonna have to, well, that's not that big of a deal, I guess. I'll just put next here, and we're done. Then we should only run this test. One skipped, that's right. And we're passing. But it's saying, hey, you're not testing all these other ones. That could get annoying. We'll fix that. Actually, I don't care about code coverage, or do I? I'll leave it for now. Okay, so we're passing our test. Now let's add another test case. To make sure. Oh, actually, I think there is a way to do that inside the same one. Let's see, test.each. Test.each, if you keep duplicating the same test with different data, that's exactly what we want. Allows you to write the test once and pass data in. So what's the format here? Pass data, table, array, of arrays with the arguments that are passed into the test function for each row. Yeah, I think I prefer this. Although now, how am I going to do that since I'm already using my template? That wouldn't work, would it? I could use... Well, to be revisited. I'm only going to do these 2 test cases anyways. Right. That's going to be sufficient. So we're going to call this one convert. So go 3 by 4. So we'll call this one 3 by 4 input to the array. Now call this one convert. I don't know. Let's make it slightly bigger. 6 by 4 to the array. So we're going to get 6 by 4. So this means we get 2 additional rows. And we're going to make, let's see, one row is going to be dot star dot dot. The next one is going to be dot 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 star. Okay, we just need to add these 2. And another one here. Now, we could make an if statement saying if the input is equal to something like that, then that gets crazy. So, but first, let's just run our test to see that it fails. And it does. Saying, I was expecting this. I received something else. Interesting. It's showing us. Okay. So now we get to implement this for real. How do we do that? Well, a bunch of different ways that we could do that. But in reality, we could probably do something like array. No, array.from. Like interval. No. If I just do array like this, I think it creates array length. So I could basically I need a way though to look to read the string kind of line by line. Is there a built-in way to do this into the language? I think there might be. Otherwise we'll have to implement it ourselves. It's not that hard, right? You just look for the new line character, but let's see. node read line from string. Read strings line by line. That's what we want. According to your comment, data is an instance of a buffer and it contains a dictionary. What? No, it's a string, dude. It's a string. I just want a string. Line from buffer. Okay. Should have seen that. Best way to read a file line by line? Nope, that's also probably a buffer. It's not from standard in. It's from a string. Node, read line from string. I can't believe nothing comes up. Parse int. The parse int function parses a string argument and returns an integer. No, I know that. That's not what I want. Read file, accept input from the command line. Best way to feed a txt file into an array. How about we do JavaScript? Read string line by line. How to read HTML tag, text area, well that would be a string. I have a text area where each line contains integers value. I want to check if the user has really entered blah blah blah. Yeah, well this is what we could do if we wanted to do it manually. Just copy this for now. In case that's what we want to do. Of course, this question is related to the DOM, so there's not going to be any node solutions there. Yeah, that's what we're going to use, I think. And there's I think there is a node read line, but that's again that's from a stream, I think. Although I could create a stream with the input, and that'd be more complicated than just using the string.split method. Yeah, see, read line. That's what we're in. Read line module provides an interface for reading data from a readable stream. Yeah, so I need to create a readable stream with the string, then pass that. Nah. Okay. So we're just going to use that. Oh, but that's kind of silly because that's, what is that going to do? First, we're splitting it, lines, that's going to give us an array. Yeah, let's start by doing that. How's that? Const lines. Or should we call it rows? Right? I think I prefer that. Rows and columns. Rows equals input dot split, and then the, okay. So once we have our rows, I'm free to do whatever I want with it. My idea was to make a 2D array, so string. This is a string array. It's not actually rows because we still have that first line. Right. So how about we do that now? We'll just iterate on that thing. Oh, we could probably map. Nope. Map is not good either because we want to get rid of that first line. Why do we care about that first line? We care about that first line because it tells us how many. Yeah, so we're going to use for. Where have I done this lately? Oh, I've done this in another. Let's see. New window. Go check out one of my other repos. Yeah, save ourselves some work. File. I think it's the last puzzle I was working on. How was I dealing with this? Yeah, this is essentially. This is essentially kind of what we're doing here. I was creating a 2D array here too. You can get inspired by this. Just okay. I'll get distracted with that. So, what do? We first that's interesting. Let's just do a it would be so much easier if I just had something to you know what? I think I might just do that. Like a little helper function here. We're just going to call this readline. How's that? Readline. So let's call it function readline. Readline takes nope. Oh, here's an interesting idea. We could extend string and have our own little readline function. That would be interesting. Could I do that? So let's say I was to do readable string extends. I don't know that I can extend string. How would I construct it afterwards? Let's experiment. Why not? Let's experiment. Class readable string, extend string. All we really need is to add a method that we're going to be calling, we're going to call a readline. I have no idea what I'm doing. What are the different methods? What do I have access to here in the string? MDN string. Iterator. Yeah, it already does that, right? It kind of like the behavior that we want. The string already does it, except it does it character by character. How interesting. And split, kind of. Okay. There's a new iterator object that iterates over the code points of a string value, returning each code as a string value. Yeah. Let's go deep down the rabbit hole and try to implement this. Just because, you know. Just because. You know, it would be so much faster to just use some kind of a for loop, but I feel like trying this. So let's see. I would need a place to store lines. So we'd call this private lines. And that would be equal to this dot split. Okay, so far it looks like might work. And then I'm probably going to forget about this then. Then we need some sort of iterator that keeps track of where we are. Actually, that's exactly what I'm implementing here. It's an iterator slash generator slash whatever. I never quite know how this works. Okay, so let's take a look then. We're looking for an iterator. Well, actually, that's not really what I want, right? Okay. We'll need private index, line index. And this will always start at 0. There we go. So when we read a line, we simply return lines. This dot line, this should be lines. This dot line index. And then line plus plus, line index, no, this dot line index plus plus. Now the thing is, what happens when we get to We should just make it go round and round, or what's the behavior that we want? Once we get to the end. I don't know. I guess it is like an iterator. That's exactly what it is. So why not implement it in that way? Let's read about this a little bit. See how this works. The two protocol, the iterable and the iterator protocol. The iterable protocol allows JavaScript objects to define or customize their iteration behavior, such as what values are looped for. Well, that's not what we want to do. The iterator protocol defines a standard way to produce a sequence of values, either finite or infinite, and potentially a return value when all values have been generated. An object is an iterator when it implements a next method. Okay, so it's got to be the object itself. Oh, we can redefine the behavior. Oh, that's exciting. So let's do that. Okay, but if I do that, yeah. Yes. Let's do it. Just gonna bring that up on the other screen. Okay. So how do we do that? We need to redefine symbol dot iterator. That's what we need to do. I think. What's it saying here? Symbol implicitly as a. Do I just go like that? No. Yes. Maybe. Quick look here. TypeScript symbol iterator. Iterable iterator of type string. No? Type string is not assignable to type string. Oh, that's a problem. Oh no, I just go like this. Yes. Okay. I think we got on to something. That's cool. I get to learn about iterators at the same time. Now, I could just do return. Then we need to return a next, which is a function, I believe. The next function is not assignable to type value. Iterator type point is not assignable. Yeah. Let's just get this. Oh, so this refers to the iterable iterator. And what if it's just an iterator? No, it really is supposed to be that. So we need either a return value done or a done. So we still need to implement our we need actually this here is exactly what I need. So we'll just bring back what we had, which was lines, private lines equals this dot, what was it, split? Yeah, I want you to split for each line, and then we're gonna next index, like that. Start at 0, and array is actually, whoops, this dot, lines. Oh, that's interesting. So should this element implicitly isn't any type because type number has no index signature. Oh. No, that doesn't work. That is very interesting. Why would it do that? Element implicitly as an any type because type number has no index signature. This may turn out to be more complicated than I thought. Oh, that's interesting.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, funk.
Okay, so turns out you can't really do it that way. Not quite. Anyways. Okay, I don't want to sink too much time into doing this, but that is definitely something that I want to revisit. So let's add extend string to add readline method. Mm-hmm.
1, 2,
this and
2, 1, 2, 1,
just wondering if, oh yeah, it is marked down. Okay.
1,
There.
2,
And what's the other article here? There we go. Some of the time. Back to our puzzle. We are going to go, we're going to go ahead and just loop. Yep, so first, lines equals input dot split. And now we've got ourselves an array with each line. And now we're gonna loop through that. And we're going to, oops. Do we need access to the,
1, 2, 3, funk.
we kind of do, don't we? Kind of need access to the size of our array, of our play field, or whatever you want to call it. Well, we could just go if no. Let's do it that way. How's that? And then we'll get a line, then we'll have it index. And that's what we need for now. So now if we know that the first one, if I equal to 0, a special treatment. We need to do, well, actually, we don't really care to know about the, let's see, what do we need here? We need, oh, I've got capital X and equals line dot split, because there's a space between the two, I think, if we look at our test case. Yes, there is a space. Good. So we'll have our y, we have our x. Do we need to store that somewhere? Not really. Then, if it's not the first one, oh yeah, we need to store that. Here, let y, x, and then we just do that. Does that work? I think it does, maybe, maybe not. No. What if I do it? No, that wouldn't work either. So we end up with an array. If I do this, like that, I do let. Let me think about this. Okay, I'll come back to that. So if it's any other line, what we're interested in doing is looping. And then we'll call this let I equals 0. And then we go as long as I is smaller than, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the wait. This gives us I need to build this as I go. So const, we'll call that minefield is let's do it that way. I don't like this. So let's do it that way. Oh, essentially this, right? Except that this is going to be line. Z. Okay. Dot split does not exist on type. Okay, yeah. We're just interested in the first line. There we go. Okay, once we've got this, we construct our minefield. Minefield. Is equal to new array of size y. Okay, that's good. Now for let y equals 0 and y is smaller than y. Plus. So we're going down our outer array line by line. That's our y coordinate. Let row equal if I do it that way though. Might do this slightly differently. I could let's see, okay. Could I just go down if I take this? Oh, this would be an interesting way to do it. I might not even need the first line. Let's see. I could just do const, that's our lines. And then split, not split, but splice. Removes element from an array and, if necessary, inserts new elements in their place, returning the deleted elements. No, slice. Returns a section of an array. So slice the beginning of the specified portion of the array. So 1. That's actually all we want. Right? Just want to forget about the first line. And then could I map over this? Then I would be getting our line here. And then with our line, which is just a string, oh yes, 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 yes. Instead, I'm going to return line dot split on every character. I think there's another method for that. Line dot, that'll just turn it into an array. Oh, actually, I think I can just do array, return array dot from, creates an array from an array-like object, and I think a string would qualify. Yes. So let's see, what are we doing here? This almost seems too good to be true. We're taking in our input, which is a string with some lines. The first line is garbage. We just want to keep the rest. That's what we're doing here. Then I'm mapping over that array. And so each element, each line is just a string. I'm saying forget about that. Just make an array from that string. So in the end, I should end up with a yes. Okay, so all I really need to do is return this. Wow, look at that. That's like functional programming right there. I was gonna make like some kind of crazy 3-level deep for loop thing, but that, I believe, works. And we're about to find out. We are about to find out. It doesn't. What are we getting here? This looks like an empty array to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's for the other case. What do I have here? Expected received. It's not showing me the expected though. Six and 4. Okay, I'm not too sure here what is going on, so let us log console dot log actual. Let's try that again. work? Oh, there we go. So apparently it's not splitting our first line. It probably is. Okay, that's probably my template thing here. Yep, definitely. I couldn't see it before, but here we go. I wasn't sure about that, but I think we just found out. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, we still have so this needs to be here. I guess we don't have a choice but to do it that way. Not the end of the world, but okay, and this should work. At least for the one that I see, one passed. Good stuff. If I'm looking at this, oh, it's because I'm logging this one and fixing there we go. This should make it all better. There we go. That's what we wanted to see right there. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's get rid of that console log thing. So we have our passing test. Do I want to? Let's see. Let's just go back to our instructions here quickly. If I can find them. Your task is to write a program to accept this input and produce as output a hint field. Okay. So now we've done the first step, which is to parse that into an array so that we can use it now. Next test is going to be test. What are we going to test? What are we going to test? Well, let's take a look at this here. What do we need to do to return our field? We need some sort of, no, we just need to iterate through each position and then just do a simple look around. It's not that hard, really. Just need to go and look. Need to look left, need to look right, need to, oh, does that include diagonal? Adjacent line squares if the square does not contain a line. So this one is, yeah, it includes diagonal. So that's not a big deal. That's 6 positions, right? If I'm not mistaken, starting north. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 position. 6 would have been, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So basically go. All right. Let's look at this one. Then we go all the way around and we count how many stars are around. Then we go to the next one and we count how many stars are around. That's really not that complicated. So test. We're gonna make a. Should I break this down? Or should I just really test the final product? Yeah, I think I'll just, it's simple enough that I can do all of that in one method, I think. We'll refactor if we need to. So I'm just gonna go test the outputs. No, hold on. Yeah, outputs correct minefield hinter. I'll just call it that. Now, what's our input? Our input is this here. Let's start with this one. That's our input. What's our expected? Our expected is, well, basically this here, but instead of dots, we should have, so this one only has 1 star next to it, this one has 1 star next to it, this one has 1 star because diagonal counts, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. That right? It, this one has 2. This one also has 2. It's adjacent to this one, it's adjacent to this one, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, we've got that, we've got this. Now we expect, oops, not in the test anymore. Just get back in there. Expect, we expect actual to equal expected. Thing is, expected. Expected. Actual is going to be actual equals minefield hinter dot generate hint field. How's that? Minefield hinter dot generate hint field. Sounds right. It should take our input here like that. Actual, man. Okay, actual. Now it's complaining because, of course, I don't have a Let's see. Static. Generate hint field. Input of type string. Like that. That is. Right, because I'm passing it our. I'm just thinking that, you know, I'm thinking about the scope of unit tests. I'm always thinking about the scope of unit tests. Because now if I give generate hint field as an input, if I give it our original input, our string, then it's going to be calling, generate hint field is going to be calling convertint input to the array. So does that make it an integration test? Right? Do we consider each method a unit, or do we consider the class a unit? Let's well, what's our task? Is to write a program that solves our problem. Seems to leave us with a lot of leeway to how we do that. It's not asking us to have one specific method that does everything, or so let's just make this one generate hint field from to the array. This should be like that. Or oh, this will be fine. Should have used F2, but I didn't. Field from to the array. Oh, need to change this. Our input's going to be a string array. Okay. Now, let's run this. And it should fail miserably. It does. Why does it fail? Well, because we're not returning anything, that's why. So how about we're expecting this, so nah, I'm just going to skip that. Let's go straight to the real implementation. But I'm still going to, you know what? Let's do a TDD. The real deal, the real deal. Always feels like cheating to me, but. And. Yay! Come on, come on. All our tests pass. But of course, it's because we cheated. So let's add another test. So output's correct minefield hinter. This will be our 3x4. Correct 3x4 minefield hinter. This one will be 6 by 4. And our expected is this one. And our input. Oh, actually, that's our input. That's our input, and then okay, so this one is going to be 2. This will be 1. 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 This will be 2. This will be 2 actually because diagonal. This will be 2 as well. 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, right? Diagonal. 1 and 1. I think that's right. And we run our test. Hey, thanks for the follow, Xor. 216. And it fails. Rightly so. So now we really have to implement a solution. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, first we need to iterate through our array. Am I going to do this with a for loop or a for each? How about I do a for each? I don't need to mutate anything. I don't need to change anything. So let's do that. Input dot for each. For each what? For each row. For each row. And what do? We look at each. Oh yeah, we're going to need more than that. We're going to need the row. We're going to need the index. So for each row, we need to loop actually row. I mean, we'll just do another. I don't need it. I don't need it. Or will I? Yeah, I will, I think. Row dot for each. And then what we get in here is an actual tile, we'll call it. Okay. Now we need to check if. Oh, okay, and that's where if row. Oh yeah, that's gonna get ugly. That's gonna get ugly. Well, there's no getting around a nested for loop, right? No, there is no getting. Oh, there might be. There might be. And we could use some math, some bitwise shifting. There's all kinds of cool stuff we might be able to do here. Get real clever. Because now, I believe, in JavaScript, let's see, MDN array flat. See, that's the latest version of JavaScript. The flat method creates a new array with all subarray elements concatenated into it recursively up to the specified depth. So if we had, for instance, this, it would flatten. Yeah, that's exactly. And then we could probably use some sort of bitwise operation thing to make a really quick, easy lookup. Let's think about this, folks. Because we know, let's just get some scrap paper. Oh, actually, if I want you guys to see, then we're going to use paint. Okay, so we've got our field here. Oof, it's hard to write with this thing. Let's just make it like that. Like that. Alright, good enough. 4 by 4. So if we flatten all of this, like that, and you know, you get the idea. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here, and this is essentially our matrix, but flatten. Now we know that there's only 4 of each. So if I'm here, let's pretend. So that would be 0, 1, 0, 1. So position 1, 1. Or 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would be here. Right? Now how would I check that this one? So let's use cardinal direction. Cardinal. You know what I mean, right? North, south. So if I wanted to check that northwest was a mine or not, well then, if I was using a 2D array and all that stuff, I would have to go, you know, with a for loop and then go to, okay, my index 0, 0. But here I could simply look behind. Would that work if I look behind? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what if I was here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, would always work, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the same is true for the other. So you just use simple math. That's an interesting proposition. It's even more interesting because now we might not need to make an array at all. We could just forget about the 2D array. We could just take our original string, strip out the new line characters, remove the first line that has our the board's dimension, and we would need that to know, you know, what kind of formula we would need for each position. That's very interesting. I think I might do something like that. Should we try that? That would mean scrapping everything we've done so far, though. But it's a clever solution. I like it. Let's see. See, it avoids all this. We don't need to do all of that. Although, hold on. What's our output supposed to be? Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I was outputting this properly. Yeah, we're supposed to output a string. We're supposed to output a string. That should be relatively easy to do, but I'm just wondering if... So maybe, just maybe we don't make that to the array, and we don't need to. But for the output, like where do we store? Would it make sense to store it? It would make sense to store it in a string as well, and then we just add our new lines afterwards. Maybe. The thing is, though, this is it's an easier representation of a problem. So maybe we should just stick with it. Yes, there is. Let me paste that into chat. There is a description of the problem. Oops, I just opened it. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Okay, so if I stick with my to the array thing, I would just then have to store, yeah, that's what I feel like doing. Something like this, let's say. If I wanted to do, should I just make an array? I could just make an array of all the possible positions, you know, or directions. And then you'd have, you know, first one would be then I could store that in tuples. All right, so let's say we start with northwest, the upper left corner, so that would be -1 and -1. And then north would be -1 and 0. And then northeast would be 1. It's basically like a set of translation coordinates, right? And then east would be 1. And then, wait, that's not right, it would be 0 and 1. Not right? I think so. And then, I really won't like this though. It's like really hard to understand what's going on here. Let's just keep going with it. We'll refactor if we want for readability later. So where are we at? We got northwest, we got north, we got northeast, which is up 1. Nope, that's not right. It's up 1 and Okay. Oh, and if it's up 1, it's minus 1. There we go. So minus 1 up the array, and then 1 to the... Okay. Now... Okay, that's right. This one, we're doing southeast now. And this will be southwest, which will be minus 1. Finally, west will give us 0 and minus 1. Is that right? We should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I miss one? Northwest, north, northeast, east, southeast, south. I'm missing south. South is 1, 0. Right? And then southwest is 1 down, minus 1 here, and then west is no down, minus 1 to the left. There we go. Now, what do we do with this? If I go... Well, to check each... So given, let's say, given a tile, we would have to do what? We'd have to iterate through our directions array. So we could do something like directions for each. Actually, we could do something like this. Directions dot reduce. Reduce is, we'll take our count and then our direction. I need to wrap this in brackets, parentheses. Yep. And do that. What are you complaining about? Oh yeah, got to start with count of 0. So it should have our count here. Oh, I shouldn't have the same thing here. Okay, so mines, we'll just call it mines. Surrounding mines. Surrounding mines count. That's descriptive enough, right? And then we just do, let's see, for each direction, we need to take our tile, which we'll be getting later. Take our tile. Actually, no, we need to do what we need to do is take the surrounding the array, whatever we're going to call it. That's what we need to do. Oh, that's actually our input, isn't it? Our input. And then we do whatever index AI we're at. Plus directions 0. And then I plus directions 1. Directions 1. Actually, j. Yeah. I'm missing the surrounding loop here, but this is essentially what we need to do. Does that make sense? For instance, let's say we're at position 3, 3, and we wanted to check northwest. It would be this one. So we'd be thinking 3 plus minus 1, so 2, 2. Yeah, that works. That gives us the correct, this gives us the correct tile. And there we go. And then once we've got our tile, if tile is equal to a star, equal to a star, then return count plus 1. Otherwise, just don't do anything. Direction is declared. What is this again? Oh. It is direction here. There we go. What are we missing here? Argument of blah 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 blah, number plus undefined. How could it return undefined? Oh yeah, I just need to return count. Count. There we go. Okay. Yep. I think we're good. Just need to make that surrounding loop. I'm not a big fan of this here, like you don't really know what's going on just by looking at this. But we'll worry about making this readable afterwards. So, okay, our surrounding loop, actually nested loop. So we're actually 3 level down. Well, not 3 level down, but bit of a problem, but I don't see any way to get out of it. Okay. So for let I equals 0, and then I is less than wet. Is less than input dot length. Yep. What seems to be the mechanism involving the expression whose type calls the type number has no compatible call. Yeah, that's because it's not a method. Ah, boy. Okay, here we go. So we do this, and then once we're inside of that, we get to do the exact same thing, but with J. Then J is smaller than input, not I dot length, and then J++. We could have just stored, I guess, instead of doing this here, but whatever, that works. Okay, then we just take this and shove it in there. All right. And this gives us our, we'll just count it, mine count. And we need to store this right. Where do we need to store it? Well, I guess we need to make another array for our result. Don't we? Const result equals let's type it just to make sure. Then we would do result I, and then, oh dear. Well, I was going to say J, not push, right? Yeah. So let's do that here. Mine count. Now the only problem is it does not exist on type. Yeah. Yeah, right. So it's not a push. It's simply equal. But the problem is that type number is not. Oh yeah. So we'll just make that. What is it? 2-string? No. What is 2-string? Yeah. Apparently. Okay. And one thing I just thought about is that this should be like this, right? We need to check to see if our input I, J is actually a mine. If, oops, what am I doing? Equal to this, right? If it is, then can't return. I'm gonna have to break out of this, right? So result. Hey, 3 nipples. It's pretty simple, really. Oops. And then just break. Or not break, actually. We need to continue, right? Because we still want to keep going with this. You rag, what's up? Yeah, so first check for this. If it is, then we don't need to bother checking all the way around. If it's not, we need to check all the way around and count how many stars we have. Once we've got that, we add it to our result array. Our result array. Oh yeah, I don't need to worry about this. It's JavaScript. Right. It'll just add whatever I need to that array. Okay. So let's see. I'm not returning anything here though, so I need to return our result. Return result. Let's run our test, see why it fails. Haha, you knew it wasn't gonna work. That would have been too easy. Cannot read property 0 of undefined. Blah, blah, blah. Output's correct. Minefield hinter. Cannot read property 0 of undefined. Yeah, well, you suck. That means we're trying to look up something in an array. Trying to read an index that, no, we're trying to read indexes from an array that's undefined. Where, why, when? Let us see if we can. Pretty sure a problem is in here somewhere, so let's just see. Ah, I hate when it does that. Okay, I need to change something in my settings. And what was it again? I need to get rid of code coverage stuff. I think it's a, let's see. The code coverage stuff screws up with the debugger. Just CLI code coverage. Can't remember which one it was. Just gonna go look in one of the. I just dealt with this not too long ago. Yeah, that's what I need to do. And that should fix it. Should being the operative word. Well, let's give it a try. Let's put our breakpoint here, 5. Oh, come on. Guess that didn't work at all. Let's see. What if I just do all exceptions? That should make it break. There we go. Nice. Oh. Let's do it again. No, it doesn't. Type error, I guess, is considered. Oh, right. It's probably because it catches it inside of the. So I'll just set my breakpoint. Here, how's that? See if that works. Okay. And I'm just gonna go in here. There we go. Let's take a look at this. What time is it now? Oh man, 3:34. I'm gonna have to go, guys. We're gonna have to keep doing this some of the time. So thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon if you're in the US. If not, have a good day or night, whatever. See you around.